and we're live. We did it right today.
Yes, we did. We've done it. We've fumbled quite a few times already.
I think I can't see, but I think we're even live on Instagram too.
Yes, we are. I can see it.
I don't have glasses on, so.
The girls will be our eyes for us today,
Right,
okay?
yes, my eyes are over there with the other pair.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome to, I almost said Swahili Sunday. Welcome to BnB Live. I just want to do that. Welcome to, I didn't do Swahili Sunday this past Sunday, so I'm all confused. Anyway, welcome to BnB Live. We're excited to have you here, and we have a great show in store for you today. We have some guests from the Live to Free event that we're going to be doing next week. Tell you, we're going to be talking about that, but if you're local to the Costa Mesa area, put it on your calendars. The Live to Free event at Vanguard University, 7 p.m. on the 19th. Yours truly will be modeling this dress in the fashion show. I'm excited about that. But we have Melanie and Sierra here from the Live to Free organization there at Vanguard University, and we're going to get into a great discussion about what Live to Free is, about the event, the Live to Free event on the 19th, and whatever other topics come up. So welcome, ladies.
Yeah.
Yes, welcome, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us today.
Very cool. If you see me, I forgot to mention this to you before we went live. If you see me over here doing this little number, it's because I'm interacting with the guests that are live with us, and they're leaving comments.
Okay.
Sometimes if it's something that they want to ask or something, I can relate that to the segment. So just in case you were wondering, what is she doing over there? Why does she keep looking that way? But don't mind me. So,
Yeah.
Wonderful.
but welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, let's start out by sharing with the audience what Live to Free actually is.
Well, Live to Free is a student-led club under the Global Center for Women and Justice. We aim to raise awareness for anti-human trafficking and honestly raise awareness for the young people in our community. Lots of times Live to Free goes to high schools and they speak to the young people to help bring awareness to the issue of human trafficking. That being within labor trafficking, of what they could do, how their shopping affects labor trafficking by letting them know that certain stores like Shein and Zara aren't ethically making their clothes, as well as talking to young students about sex trafficking and the lover boy tactic, and telling them and promoting healthy relationships and letting them know that they have a safe place if they ever need to talk to someone, that they're not stuck in this position if they are in that position.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I didn't realize you guys went into high schools, and that's great because there's so much, especially with social media, and you see a lot of young girls getting kind of sucked into this, oh, I'm just going to go on OnlyFans or whatever.
Yeah.
And somebody tricks them into going there, and then they basically have sold their soul to that, and they think, oh, I'm just going to do this for a little while, and there's been so many on the other side say, wow, this was a big mistake. So for you to give young girls a different path to think about, that's awesome.
Yeah, and a big thing right now for our generation and the younger generation is sugar dating. So are you guys familiar with sugar dating?
No, what is that?
So it's when somebody who typically is older, it could be a male or a female, you're basically like, they're a sugar daddy or a sugar mommy.
Okay.
And basically the sugar baby like does things. And before, like, it could just be like, in the beginning, it's more like, oh, like, just talk to me, I'm lonely, and I'll pay you to do this. But then it most of the time escalates to, more exploitive, things. And so that's what a lot of people right now, it's a really relevant topic, is sugar dating, especially in high school.
Wow, I didn't even realize that. I mean, I've heard about that. I know younger women who've dated older men and that kind of thing, but I didn't realize that it got to the high school level.
Yeah, people will get like, messages, online saying like, hey, if you're looking for a sugar daddy or a sugar mommy, like, hit me up. I'll pay you this amount of money. I'll pay for your school. I'll pay for this. But then a lot of girls and men don't know like the dangers behind that and how it's linked to sex trafficking. And so for us, like, a big thing I've learned from Live to Free is like education is probably the biggest form of prevention. when you educate people and when they know the dangers and they know how maybe they contribute to the push and pull factors of human trafficking, and that it's a big form of actually preventing the issue.
You know, a lot of people, when they think about human trafficking, they just think maybe it's just one thing, like, and a lot of people think about it, oh, it's one thing in another country, but it's, I think the U.S. is statistically one of the highest countries with human trafficking.
It is actually.
Yeah.
It's like,
Incredible. So, I mean, obviously, next Thursday is going to be a really important day. It sounds like this information that you're offering to our audience now, and there's probably going to be even more information in your presentation of what's going to take place next Thursday as well, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, share a little bit about the event. I mean, we've been there before, but there's a lot of people who we've been talking it up, but share what's going to take place at the event and how the event actually got started.
Yeah, so this is our 8th annual Fair Trade Fashion Show. This is our 7th year partnering with Goodwill. So Live to Free partners with Goodwill, and Goodwill provides clothes for a certain amount of models, and these models go out and they strip the runway in the clothes that they feel great in. This is a way to show young people that thrifting and recycling clothes is much more better than going out and buying from these companies that participate in labor trafficking. That is our big goal for our fashion show, is just showing young people how what we buy matters, and especially in this year's theme, wearing our values is our theme. So wearing our values is something very important. Every day we get dressed, and depending on what we get dressed in, there's a chance that some child made our clothes, and there's a chance that a slave made our clothes, and we have to be very aware of that. So this year's theme it has met so much to me, because we as people, when we come off or when we're presented, we show how we are, our personalities, and we show our values. And to be able to wear clothes that is ethically made, that's a way of showing our values and showing how much you care about certain things. And to me, this is something is so important and so not brought into the light as much. So yeah, and a little bit more about the fashion show. It will begin at 7 p.m. and for 30 minutes we will have shopping time with the vendors, with like baskets and beads, Ophio, recycling, so many different vendors that are fair trade vendors for 30 minutes. And then after those 30 minutes, we will begin our show and we will have our panelists. And then after that, we will have the runways where the Goodwill models, every baskets and bead models will be performing. And then we will have more shopping time after the show. But that's basically,
Shopping,
Yeah,
fashion,
shopping, big thing.
shopping and fashion.
Just
And-
in time for the holidays.
Right,
Yeah.
right, Sierra?
Stuff.
Right,
We
Sierra?
also have some goodies that we will be giving away that night from different vendors who have donated some things as well. So if any of you guys sign up on our Eventbrite, which should be on our website and on our Instagram as well, you'll be automatically entered into the raffle.
Nice.
Oh,
Very
cool.
cool. Okay, very cool. Well, last year, I had the opportunity of experiencing Live to Free, the event last year. Eldon, I went to that event, and then Baskets and Beads was also being represented somewhere else at another event. And so my first year was last year, and it was a beautiful time. I mean, I'm really looking forward to being there again this year. And just on our own, like my own personal platform, I've been pushing and promoting it as well, and sharing it with family and friends, and especially those of you who live out in the Orange County area. I definitely have been like, hey, you need to come out to this. It's on a Thursday night, but it's a great thing to do on a Thursday night too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for a really great cause.
Yeah.
And it's being held at Vanguard University, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
The campus there. Where at specifically? What part of the campus are we going to be at?
So when you first locate Vanguard University, it will take you to the front of the school, which is our Scott building. Inside that Scott building, there's a little square, and that's our Scott courtyard, that's where it will be held.
Nice.
And we'll make sure to have signs out that way everyone knows.
Yeah.
This way,
this
that
way,
way.
yeah.
It's a really nice courtyard. And,
Yeah.
you go back to what you're talking about fast fashion. You know, fast fashion where maybe a child or some forced labor, somebody who's forced to make the clothes and they're not getting paid a fair wage, or they meant I've read that they might not even be getting paid a wage because they're just forced. Okay, you get to live here, and then you got to work here too, and you don't get any money. So just get to work, kind of thing. And that's what we're combating with Baskets and Beads. And I'll give a shout out to Fair Trade Long Beach, who will also be at the event. I have a space. Baskets and Beads has a space in Fair Trade Long Beach. We have a thrift area upstairs. And so a lot of us will bring clothes, and people will go and buy in the thrift area to get the pre-loved clothes instead of going, and that's done really well for us. And on Fair Trade Long Beach Instagram, Teresa, I call her Sink, Commander-in-Chief, Fair Trade Long Beach, is always promoting that. And people come in just to look at the thrift items and take advantage of that. So, the clothing, like, I know who made this. I actually watched them when I was in Kenya make these dresses and the aprons. And so I know who made it, and I know they're getting paid a fair wage. We actually personally pick out the fabric, and so there's no middle person in between. A lot of times you in the supply chain, here's the person you're buying it from. Here's some other person. Way over here is the person who's making it, and you don't know who that is. With fair trade fashion, you know who's making the clothes, and you know they're getting paid a fair wage. So that's really important. I just love that you brought that up.
And let me ask both of you this question. Either one can answer first, but tell us a little bit about what you're learning in school. Like you mentioned before our segment, a little bit about your major,
Yes.
right? And so we would love to hear a little bit more about like what you are going to school for, and because obviously you're already a part of a great organization, and you're very mindful, and you're very conscious of like what's going on in the world, and you're being actively involved in being a part of the solution and not part of the problem. So let's talk a little bit though about what you're going to school for with your education, what you plan on doing.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, I can go first. So I am a sociology major with a women in justice minor. And so a lot of the classes kind of coincide with each other. So right now I'm kind of more on the research aspect of things. So researching, just like different issues that we have right now. I'm researching a part of a research project with unaccompanied minors in India. So we're kind of researching them, and then just kind of like they're part of like an organization over in India. So we're doing good work with that. And then a lot of my classes right now, they kind of tie in to human trafficking and that whole movement, like anti-human trafficking and things like that, because we learned about a lot of the social problems. We learned about gentrification, globalization, urbanization, which kind of all ties in to, the people who are affected by these issues is more than most likely the poorer communities. And it's kind of the same thing with human trafficking. You're more susceptible to it if you're living in poverty. And so I think me as a sociologist, just learning and putting on those different lenses and saying, like, I may not come from that space, but I know that there are people who live in that space, and there's people in my community who live in that space. And just to be gracious and kind of say, how can I help you? And for me, I'm very practical. So like, how can I help you from a practical way? Like, making different policies, doing research, so a lot of that just ties in with the anti-human trafficking movement. And so that's something I'm really grateful to be a part of.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us. And how about you, Melanie? Tell us a little bit about.
Yeah, so I'm a criminal justice major with a minor in women in justice. Currently in school, we are learning about human trafficking. Actually, we did a research project on it. I am from the Global Center. I have learned so much from human trafficking. So to do even more research on it, it's very helpful for me. I have learned so many things over this past year being with the Global Center, and I have learned that human trafficking comes in different forms, and it is different for every country. I also went to Spain with the human trafficking, with the Global Center, and there we worked with an organization, and I got to learn how human trafficking was in Spain, and it is completely different on how it is here in California. So to be able to learn that was truly incredible. To be able to research and educate myself and come back and educate my peers on that was honestly something incredible because a lot of people have these misconceptions and myths about human trafficking that it only happens to women, and that's not true. It can happen to anyone. It can happen to males, young males, or that it only happens to immigrants, and that's not true again. It happens to people in our community. So I feel like coming back and being able to educate my peers on those things has helped me in a way to better understand human trafficking and also to bring awareness to it. And I very much enjoyed it. Something that you said right now that caught my eye and I heard when I was back in Spain was you can either be a part of the solution or the problem. And to me, when they said this, they said you can either be a part of the solution or not do anything and contribute to the problem.
There you go.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like you can't be in the middle.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not on the fence. Nobody's on the fence.
Yeah.
Either you are part of the solution or you're contributing to the problem.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, like there's, yeah, if you just ignore it, it'll go away. Like that's part of the problem too, because you hear about all these stories where somebody, especially like I love some of the stories where like they train flight attendants now to specifically look and see if somebody they think is being trafficked just suspicious by the way they're behaved. They actually are training. That's part of their training.
Wow.
So
Okay.
they're looking to see like, okay, there's a problem here.
Yeah, something looks suspicious,
Yeah.
right?
Well, like that's funny that you say that because just to piggyback off of that, I think one of the biggest things that Dr. Morgan, our director of Global Center for Women's Justice, what she teaches us is like what can each of us bring to the table because we are all welcome at the table, and we all come from different backgrounds, we all come from different religious backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, we work in different areas, but everybody can be a part of the solution for preventing human trafficking. No matter what your occupation is. So it's really cool that you said that, you know, even flight attendants, you wouldn't even think,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe people in the grocery store, maybe
Right.
people, you know, nurses, doctors, like everybody would be, everybody could benefit from learning prevention strategies and trafficking.
And to continue from what Sierra said, as interns, all of us are very different, but yet we still have such a passion for what we do and bringing awareness to this. Like it's incredible because we're different majors and very different personalities,
Yeah.
but yet we care about each other so much because of this, because we care about what we're doing. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was just like, we care so much about what we're doing that all of us are so close. Like we're very close. Like we're gonna go out after this.
That's
Yeah, we're all gonna.
Yeah.
a sense of community.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
gather
Right.
from what you're sharing now, that within the organization and being a part of this, being a part of Live to Free, that you guys have established a sense of community among all of you, and I think that's a really beautiful thing. You know, when we build community, I think that how do I say it? Like the beauty of community is that we're extending ourselves to one another as well, and being able to show compassion and love for one another and concern. You know, like, hey, I care about you, and I'm looking out for you as well. And I think the same for the women with baskets and beads. That's part of the, if you want to say the structure, right, of the I don't want to say the vibe, but it's like part of like the what would be a good word to use for that, Aldana? But
Well, I mean, we're building community. We're
Exactly.
teaching them how to build community because they didn't And the first time we did that, we got everybody together, and we usually have the market day. So I place my order before I go, and then I have the market day where they bring out their stuff, and I buy a bunch more that I really like. I don't need all this, but I can't help it. It's all beautiful and it's going to sell. So I end up going and buying something from each lady, and then we have tea and cookies or whatever. And the first time we did that, we had tea, and everybody's sitting there with their tea and a mandazi, which is kind of like a sopapilla, little bread, little triangle. And they were all just really quiet. They're looking around. And I asked if anybody wanted to share anything. You've never done this before.
Wow.
You know, we take that for
Oh,
granted. We all gather and we take that for granted, and they've never gathered like that. Like it was a women's event. They've never
So new for them.
they'd never gathered like that before, and they were kind of uncomfortable at first, and then as other women started to share, then it kind of they got more relaxed, and then as I was going around, we had the tea and the mandazi, and then they brought out their products. And as that started to happen, then they started talking and chattering, and they started doing like women do, just having a good time. So now sometimes we do line dancing and stuff, but they enjoy that. But it just was so, we take that for granted, and that was something that they hadn't done. So we're building community so they can learn how to support each other and have each other's backs, and they certainly do. As a matter of fact, they live in the slum, and they have a group of elders, and every time the elders would make a decision about something, our ladies would be like, "Oh no, wait a minute, we don't like that because." So they finally said, "Just have one of your women on the elders."
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so
Yeah.
amazing.
And that's for that tribe to have like a woman elder like that. It was
Yeah.
just a big thing. And they were just like, you know, we just want to have one of your women as an elder. And actually, it's Selena right here. She's the elder right now, and it's, you know, so she's on the tribal council, and we have input. Those
That's
ladies have input.
So amazing.
Yeah.
I think for just what the young people today lack, especially here, is a sense of a healthy community. And you know, we're like
Yes.
human beings. We
Yes.
are like designed to have community. And so if these children and you know just people as well, young people, if they don't have that, they're going to look for it somewhere else. And that's what happens when people kind of get involved in like prostitution or get involved in like brothels or in sex trafficking, is because, like, to be really frank, they do have a community there.
Right.
Maybe it's not
Right.
the healthiest,
Right.
right? But they're getting fed. They're getting,
Attention,
yes,
but
they're,
it's not the good attention,
Yeah.
but it's attention.
they're
Yes.
getting a roof over their head,
Yes.
right? So it's just, you know, starting young, telling young people that you can find a healthy community in places like, who would have thought, like interns in a job, like we would have a healthy community, or you with Basket and Beads in a whole other, you know, country, like having a healthy community and just being held accountable as well.
Right.
I think that's super important.
And also providing a safe space, a safe
Mhm.
place where you know that you're safe. There's safety, and I think that is really important. It's very critical that we feel a sense of like we need to know that we're safe. And so I know that with Baskets and Beads, and obviously even with Live to Free, it's a safe space for all of you to be together. And you mentioned about all are welcomed at the table, right? And that's a beautiful, because it's a sense of belonging that we all collectively we belong, and we can come here together. We can brainstorm. We can bring all our ideas
Yes.
together. Even how you continue to work and enhance what's happening with Live to Free. It's like in years to come, as the organization continues to grow, how it's going to grow with new ideas and concepts that are going to be beneficial to the purpose of what Live to Free is all about. You know what I mean? And even this fashion show and this event that is hosted once a year, that's part of that. But, you know, in another year from now, 2 years from now, like, how can we how can we make it even better? Or what can we do next
Yeah,
year to like bring it up,
Yeah.
to another level? Like let's dream together. Let's bring our ideas together and figure out a way, being solution oriented as well, and being like, okay, how can we make this happen? You know what I mean?
That's so funny you said that, because we just had a meeting with one of our sponsors for Optimus, and that's what they were saying. Like, we want to be able to grow, like, because the beauty about Live to Free and being part of a college or a university and institution like that, like, we're not going to be there forever.
Yeah. Right.
So
You're right.
we have to like
pass
build,
it
we have
on.
to build it up, right? We have to
Pass the baton.
Yeah, pass the baton.
And as these new members come along and these new minds, these bright minds, as a generation grows, so
Yes.
many new ideas and creativities are going to come to light. And I just want to make these young people feel like they can make a change. And a lot of these young people feel like they can't because they aren't in the positions that we're in. But that's not true. You can make a change in your community, in your schools, your middle schools, your high schools.
Yes.
You can start a club. You can do so many things. Reach out to organizations, volunteer, and step your foot into this puddle. And just wait, because it's an ocean.
Right.
First it's a puddle, and then
Yes.
it's the ocean.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Like when I was a kid, there was no social media, and I would assume that I'd love to hear it from your perspective, because what I see is like social media is like increase the bullying and causing a lot of isolation and people to not be able to come together and because they see something on social media and think, especially young girls, I have to be like this and I'm not, so I'm a loser and I'm just going to stay away from everybody. Is that kind of how do you guys see it?
I think we see it from, like you were saying, a different perspective. We've kind of seen, I think our generation specifically, like, has been there from the start of social media. So we've seen it start from, like, because social media can be such a beautiful thing, it can also be a really dangerous thing, a really toxic thing. And like we were saying, it's just really important with social media now. That is how it is. People post all the time. Who knows what's true and who knows what isn't true, right?
The smoke and mirrors of things as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a message always being put out there, but the
Mhm.
question is, what is that message? Is it positive? Is it
Yeah.
is it healthy? Is it affirming, or is it, like you said, toxic? Distorted.
And it's important to be mindful of what we're putting out there. And then to kind of help with that, again, just goes back to community, having a healthy community, having people to go to, having a safe space, and just know that you're valued and you're loved. And even if you do struggle with like certain things, because I know a lot of people struggle with shame, right? If they're consumers of porn, or maybe if they are a prostitute or in prostitution, we don't want to ever shame anybody for that. Like, yes, like we still want you to be a part of our team. We still want you to be there.
And you want to be a resource for them as well, to
Yes.
help them, to guide them out of whatever it is that they're experiencing. They need to know. And that's the I want to say, shame wants us to cradle into a corner, into a dark space, and because that's what shame does. No, I'm the only one who's dealing with this. I'm the only one who struggles with this. Like, if I tell people are going to look at me differently or see me weird. And it's like, we want to smear that lie. Just say no. Like you said, like, we're here. We want to be here for people that are like, that realize that, like, okay, I'm dealing with this. I'm struggling with this, but here's this organization that is willing to be a tool to help me to navigate through and come out of this.
Yeah, and
Right.
in social media, you can find those places as well, but you just, again, have to be very cautious as well.
Well, the thing that I think that, especially somebody who's been through something like that, or October's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, Seroptimus is a great organization to combat against domestic violence, and I am a victor over that myself from my past. So anybody who's been in anything like that, if you're listening and you think, oh gosh, the shame comes along, who better to help somebody else who's stuck in that than somebody who's been through that? You made it. Like, I made some choices that got me in a circumstance where I got beaten up pretty bad, and I shared it on my social media recently and found out the person who did that to me back in 1985, a long time ago, had passed away this year. But the thing about that is, like, thankfully I've done the work and I don't have the trauma from it anymore. But if there's somebody else going through that, I can reach out to that person. So somebody who comes out of human trafficking and decides to take a different path, they can reach back and reach out to somebody who's still going through that and say, no, I got your hand. I'm on the other side. Come with me. Kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's an incredible feeling to know that you can get out. Like there's the possibility, and it is possible. You just have to put the work into it. And I know it's very scary, and the unknown of what will happen is scary, honestly, for many of these victims. But to be able to have a hand and to be able to know that someone made it out gives them hope. And and that's what we want to do. We want to give them hope, and that these are the resources that can help them. And even young people as well, if you have resources and you're not alone in this, if you are going through it, there's ways you can get out. And I know right now it seems very difficult or even impossible to some people, but never give up hope. And hope is what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody needs to hold on to hope all the time.
Definitely. And you know what? It's important for young people, I think, and I want to definitely address our audience. I know a lot of our audience, they also watch the segment after the fact as well, Adana. But I think it's really important for us to emphasize how important this event really is. And our hope is that after watching the segment, that you arrange your schedule for next Thursday to be present with us physically at Vanguard University to experience this and to hear all this important information. And I'm sure you're going to have those resources also there for the event. So maybe this is hitting home for you, or you are connected to somebody that you're like, okay, we need to figure out a way to get them there, or we want you to come. We want you to come and experience this event and be a part of it. And like I was sharing with you ladies earlier, like my daughter will be there. She was there last year. Last year she was 9 years old. This year she's 10. So, even for her at her young age, the importance for her to hear this message, to learn and to be educated and to be around other young people that she can be inspired by, because she's old enough, she's still young, but she's old enough to understand and to comprehend, and to give her the information so that she's aware. You bring your kids, even if they are 10 years old or 9 years old, bring them, because this is important information.
It is.
Yeah, time to learn is now.
Yes.
And are you guys going to be live streaming any of it?
I don't believe so.
I don't.
We're going to, so we're
but we are.
We're going to be live streaming. We are, because we're doing BnB live there. It'll probably start at a later time. We have to discuss that with our crew and see how that's going to be. The show everything starts at 7, so we'll be I'll probably be doing the show, and Vanessa will be handling the baskets and beads table. But during the fashion show, we're probably going to be live streaming some of that, so you guys can see it if you're not in the area. But if you're in a local area, come, just Google Vanguard University. Live to Free is on Instagram, it's on Facebook, it's everywhere.
And I've already posted the website, livetofree.org, www.livetofree.org. It's on there right now. You guys are looking at it at this very moment. And the other thing is, actually, the event is actually free, right? You just show up. Yeah.
Show up.
So even better, you just need to get there. We want you to come and, again, experience this event with us, be a part of all everything that's going to take place for that night. And in regards to the whole production part of it, we are looking to engage with the other vendors that are there as well. We want to be able to talk with the other vendors and highlight them as well that are a part of the Live to Free.
Yeah.
Maybe even some of the other students that are part of Live to Free, if they have a moment, like a minute and a half of time. We'd love to get them on camera,
Of course.
talk with them a little bit, chat with them, and then send them on their way wherever they need to go.
Yeah.
But we definitely want to be very active and on site with you guys, because we believe in what you are doing. We understand the importance of what you are doing, and this is our way of being able to contribute as well and to be supportive to the cause, because it's very it's like a marriage here. You know what I mean? It's just the perfect unison with what Baskets and Beads stands for and what we are doing as an organization as well, but also with what you're doing. So we definitely want to help create a platform for Live to Free as well. So
Back to our keyword community, it's just all of us coming together as a community and raising awareness to this topic that is very prevalent in our day and age, and just bringing awareness is honestly something as a community that we're gonna do, if we want to do, just
So do you have to be a student at Vanguard to be part of the Live to Free organization? Okay, so
that's good to know.
Oh, I thought I'd bring that out because if there's somebody there who wants to come and participate, you can be part of it.
If anybody online right now, or if you guys ever want to collaborate with us in any way, you can contact us through the Global Center for Women Justice at Vanguard University. They're online. You can find us through online. Or you can also just go into our office, and then we'll take it up from there. Yeah.
Very
We'd love
cool.
to hear your ideas. We'd love to network. We want to get as many people involved in this movement as possible.
Good
Yeah, and I think the education is the key in getting more people aware, because when I went to Kenya in 2018, I heard about fair trade, but I didn't understand. It wasn't in my purview because I went doing this and doing this and doing this. And then I brought some products back, and then I started, I had met Teresa from Fair Trade Long Beach, and I was like, oh, I guess I need to learn about fair trade. And then I started learning about the fast fashion and everything that goes behind that. And I'm like, okay, I want to make a difference in a few women's lives that's going to affect everybody who touches these products. So it just takes a little bit of education, and starting with one. I've always talked about this, starting with one fair trade product.
Yes. Well, you mentioned your example was the chocolate, right?
Yeah.
Tell the girls about the chocolate. What you mentioned.
Well,
about
I'm
the
sure
chocolate.
you guys know about the fair trade chocolate. Because the big three, Hershey's, Nestle's, and Mars, still uses child labor, even though they said that they were going to stop like 10 years ago and 10 years before that. So I always say to people, if you love chocolate, start with fair trade chocolate. There's a lot of fair trade chocolate out there. There will be some for sale at the Live to Free event. I have a problem with that. A lot of it ends up in
her purse.
Yeah. I mean, chocolate, coffee, tea, those are just things that even your fruits, your vegetables.
Yes.
I mean, my family worked in, the fields. Like, we have experience with that.
So did my father.
And so, just, so I have like a personal connection to that.
Yes.
And just knowing, where is your food coming from?
Right.
Because what is feeding us could be detrimental to another person, another family.
Yeah.
Very,
and that's why we've started a farm in Kenya. We're helping another group of women in a mountain area that don't. We went to do a women's conference with this supposed to be small group of women, and like 200 women showed
It wasn't
up.
small.
Yeah.
It's a lot of women.
And then a group was like, we want to do a farm. So like, okay, we're going to start a farm. And it's been a learning process as we're going along, but we've grown cabbage, onions, and now potatoes are about to be harvested. And it's a learning process, but again, we know who's growing and they're getting paid a fair wage, and it's helping them, and then also working on reducing food insecurity. So
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a big issue as well.
Yes.
A lot of people think you have to go to like this crazy different store for fair trade, but you can get fair trade products at Target. I've seen it at Sprouts. You
at
just
Ralph's,
you just have to look for the little
Whole Foods,
Yeah.
obviously,
our little label.
labels,
Yeah.
fair trade.
Gelson's. Yeah, you just look. There's little fair trade labels. It gets you some chocolate, some coffee, some tea, sugar. There's a lot of different things that you can get. So buy fair trade. Just make one conscious decision. Will make a difference somewhere.
Yes. So one more time, let's give the date and the time and the location of where this event. And is there a name to it? I know Live to Free is the one who's putting it on, but did you guys come up with like a certain name for this year's event, or?
For the past 8 years, it's always been called the Fair Trade Fashion Show.
There we go.
Yeah.
And then our theme is just wear your values.
That's cool.
I love that.
Oh,
I love that theme. Where are your
Yes.
values? So fair trade, Live to Free Fair Trade Fashion Show. wear your values.
Date?
Vanguard University, Scott Courtyard at 7 p.m. Thursday, October 19th.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And one more time, the website.
It's www.livetofree.org.
There we go. And we also provided that for you on the segment here. So you're already looking at it. As we just said it to you again, go over to the website because I'm sure they can find out more information, the history of Live to Free, maybe, some of the things that you're involved in. I'm sure the event that's happening next Thursday will be there as well,
Yeah,
right? There'll be information on there as well.
Also, all of the links to our handles for social media.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
And our social medias where we are promoting most of the fashion show. So a lot of new updates, raffle prizes. You can see all the raffle prizes on our social media. Our vendors, our partnerships with Goodwill, Seraphim, Baskets and Beads. So you can locate all of that on our Live to Free Instagram. It's just Live to Free Instagram.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool.
We're following each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Awesome, ladies. Oh, thank you so much for coming. I'll be so excited for next Thursday.
Can't wait to see you on the catwalk.
I
know. There she goes.
So exciting.
So much fun. So
Yeah,
much fun.
I never even thought about that, but then Vanessa was like, "Oh, you should ask."
You need
I'm
to
like,
ask.
"Okay, I'll ask." So
Yes.
I'm wearing what I'm going to be wearing, so this is my uniform. So
Yeah.
Little sneak peek.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know,
It's a
right?
sneak peek. Yeah.
So beautiful.
And we will have some of the other models wearing dresses and aprons from Baskets and Beads.
Yes.
And what the dresses will all be for sale, and the aprons will all be for sale as well. And then we'll have a lot of other products, and there'll be a lot of other fair trade vendors there as well. And looking forward to the chocolate.
Yes.
Yes.
Can't wait to.
Chocolate's so good.
Well, is there anything else that we need to say before we, how we normally end our segment?
One thing I'll remind everybody before the Live to Free event, if you are in Irvine, come to the Global Village event on Saturday the 14th from 10 to 6. Baskets and Beads will be there. Love for you to stop by, take a photo, say hi,
Yes.
come and check us out because we're going to have a big 10 by 10 space. The dresses will be there too. I'm not sure they're going to make it to the website. So
I don't think they are either.
the dresses are going to be there as well
Yes.
as some of the other products that we have, and I look forward to seeing you. And then also we'll be doing I'll see you on Swahili Sunday this Sunday, and that's about it. Other than our famous phrase,
Yes, what do we say when we end our segments, Aldana?
Nakupenda.
Nakupenda, you guys. Thanks for joining us again. You guys have a great one.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, you guys. We appreciate Melanie. We appreciate you, Sierra, for coming in. And we look forward to seeing you next Thursday.
Thank
Yeah.
you
for
guys.
having us.
You're welcome.